called Tiger's Nest. Okay, yes, called Tiger's Nest. And as I was walking up, there were a lot of trekkers coming down, and they were encouraging me and saying stuff like, "You'll soon be there. It's not that far." When I was 3/4 on the way up, I saw this old lady. Old lady walking sluggishly, limping, holding onto her guide's hand. I went up to her and I told her that you'll soon be there, just keep walking slowly. But she did not reply, so I just assumed that she was tired, and I kept walking. I soon reached the top to the monastery, and I meditated there for a while. While coming down, I saw her again. So I told her, the view from the top is lovely, you will absolutely love it, so just keep going slowly. She did not say anything, she just smiled at me. Her guide walked up to me and said that she's blind. A 78-year-old blind lady from New Zealand was walking up a mountain to reach a Buddhist monastery that she would never be able to physically see. I think that there's something to be said about faith, and one of the most beautiful lessons I've learned while traveling is to have faith in the universe. My name is Neeraj Narayanan, and I'm a trip leader, a travel organizer, a storyteller, and a backpacker. I quit my job in 2013, and since then I've led an extremely enriching, fulfilled life that alternates between leading trips for people as well as backpacking by myself. During the course of all these travels in 6 years and meeting all these people, I think I have developed a view of the world and life that has radically changed over time. I have a small travel company, it's called On His Own Trip, and we lead group trips for people between the ages of 20 and 40. There are a lot of questions that people ask us on the website, on the Facebook page, and one of the most common questions that we get asked is it safe to travel? It's interesting because in 2019, in the age of Instagram and Facebook and social media, when travel is as glamorous as travel can be, there's still a lot of people who are apprehensive about traveling, about stepping out and going to new countries. Why do we think that the moment we step out of our houses, and especially a lot of Indian parents, when they're sending the kids on trips, why do we think that the moment we step out of our country and go out, we'll be greeted with something like this at the airport? Like this? No. In my experience of traveling in the last 6 years, what I have figured is that I have never been intimidated, I have never been attacked, I have never been robbed, I've never even been violently ill. So either that makes me extremely lucky as a person, or what I like to believe is that I'm just one of the huge majority that has traveled happily so. I think that while traveling, I was once going to Albania from Greece, and I boarded this bus, and I cleared immigration at 1 a.m. When I got on the bus, there were these 40 pairs of eyes staring at me, and I looked for familiar faces, for the backpackers from Germany or Australia or America, Japanese, even Gujus. But all I saw was 40 Albanians staring at me. And from the back, one voice quipped, saying something in Albanian that I did not understand. There was only one girl in the entire bus who could speak English, and she said, "Why have you come to Albania?" So I just looked at all of them and I said, because I read about it on Google and I think it's a beautiful country, so I'm here. So when she translated back to them, everybody started like cheering and hooting and laughing. And then somebody else asked again in Albanian, "Where are you from?" So I just did the Indian head nod and I said that I'm from India. And when I said that, I think there were loud murmurs and exclamations and people confused, thinking, why would an Indian boy travel halfway across the world and come to a country like Albania instead of going to a Switzerland or a Germany? Soon they were all huddled around my seat in the bus and everybody was just throwing questions at me and I was answering. And I feel bad for that one girl in the bus who knew English and who had to keep translating the entire thing to everyone. I think people worry when they're traveling that if they go to a country where nobody can speak the language, how will they communicate? But I think travel, it teaches you the language of smiles. You smile at a person and mostly they will reciprocate. You try to speak a few words from the language, you try to form a few broken sentences of their language, and mostly they'll be delighted, they'll be happy, they'll cheer with you, they'll make fun of you, and they'll just go out of the way to help you. When I got down from that bus that night in Albania, it was at 4:30 a.m. and it was in a small medieval town called Girocastra. When I got down, the whole bus came down to say goodbye to me, the whole bus. And that's never happened in India, that's never happened in my hometown. It's not even happened in the finest places in Europe, not in France or Germany or anywhere, just in Albania. And when I told them that I had still not booked a hotel, half the bus walked with me across town to find me a hotel. They put me in my room like they would to a small kid, and only then they went back to the bus while the driver waited patiently for all of them to come. Travel teaches a lot of things. It has taught me that kindness has no language, kindness has no name, it has no religion, no community. A random act of kindness can actually make you believe in the world. It did that to me. I remember being in Rome, in Italy, late one night at the train station. All the ticket staff had already left for the day. So the only way to get a ticket was to go to the ticket machine and put some coins in it. Now the problem was that the only thing in my wallet was a 100 euro note. So I just stood there irritated in front of the ticket machine because I could not get a ticket out of it. And the biggest problem was that a train ticket cost about €1, that's 80 rupees. Whereas if I hailed a cab from outside, it would cost about 60 euros, that's about 5,000 rupees. As I stood there not knowing what to do in front of that machine, I could hear footsteps from behind. So many lessons that travel can teach you. We read about so many things in the news. We read about, and we develop our own prejudices. We think of Kashmir and all we can think of is terrorism. We think of Bosnia and we think of ethnic war, ethnic clashes, war zone. We think of Nagaland and Chhattisgarh and we end up thinking about tribals and backward ways. What we need to understand is that people are essentially the same everywhere. That if you actually travel and go to any of these places I just spoke about, you will realize that most people are similar to the ones back home. You will realize that there are people going to work every day in regular jobs, mostly getting the jobs just to earn some money for the families. There are kids playing football every day, the kids playing with tires everywhere across the world. There are teenagers crushing on teenagers everywhere in the world. There are adults complicating love and relationships everywhere. Just according to your TEDx theme, I think people everywhere in the world watch Game of Thrones. So it's true that people are essentially the same, just with, of course, some differences. And you know that best when you start traveling. When you travel, I think when you're with people for so long, when you're backpacking and you're dancing with them, and when you're sitting in hostels and cracking jokes and everybody is listening to you, you realize that you're feeling accepted, you realize that you're liked, and that makes you more confident as a person. It gives a vibe to your personality. It helps you tackle situations, it helps you learn how to deal with situations. A lot of things about leadership and how to lead my brand. Travel has taught me that it's not just about leading trips for people, but it's also about taking forward all the people with me. It's taught me that we're not just leading trips, but we're also in the pursuit of helping people chase their dreams. I'm extremely, extremely proud of the fact that 65% of the people who are traveling with me right now are girls. And not just from Delhi or Bombay or Bangalore or Calcutta, but also from smaller cities like a Sangli, a Jammu, a Guwahati, Trichy, and 20, 22-year-olds, 25-year-olds, girls, even boys. When they come on these trips from different backgrounds, from different childhoods, some from unpleasant childhood, some from depressed adult life, and when they come on these trips trying to have some fun, trying to live their desires, talking about the problems that haunt them, and it's remarkable that somehow when everybody's listening to them, they just accept them for who they are, they just embrace them for who they are, and it helps reduce a lot of baggage that people have and go back a lot happier. While I'm talking to you right now, it's like I'm trying to relive 6 years of journey of solo traveling and leading trips in 18 minutes. It's like a blur. It's like those movies where you see a high-speed trailer and you see all those moments just passing you by in front of you. I remember the first day of my travels in 2013. I was in a small town in Spain called Pamplona. If you've seen ZLMD, you'll know it's from the bull run. And I remember that I fell in front of the bull, and while the bull was on top of me, and there was huge chaos, there were people running all around, and the people were screaming and shouting, and the bull was on top of me, and I was looking at him. The only thing I remember from that day is the bull and me looking at each other, and there was this fearful gentleness in his eyes that I cannot forget. I think of Ivo, this Serbian backpacker I met in Croatia, and the two of us crouching in this tent, scared like hell, praying to God, because a bear had been chasing us for an hour in the jungle, and the two of us just praying to God that because the bear standing outside our tent, and we're just hoping that it does not come in and kill us. I think there has been a lot that has happened, and I think when I think about the page and all the love that we've been getting, and all the people that keep having faith in us, it's beautiful. I do not understand why somebody would sell off the bike to do a trip with me. I do not understand when somebody's mother sends me a message saying that I want my daughter only to travel with you. It does not make sense to me why somebody would have so much faith in the stories that I write or the travels that I do, but the overwhelming emotion in me is of gratefulness. Before I leave, I'd like to go back to the first story of faith that I had, that the best thing that travel has taught me in all these years is to be able to surrender to the environment and let it take care of you completely. Before I leave, I want to speak of the story from Kashmir, especially because I think it's extremely important in the present-day context. We had just finished a trip in Ladakh, and we were coming back from Leh to Srinagar, and there was this huge snowstorm that happened, and the army stopped all of us at Kargil. A lot of my group members then were panicking because of the weather, and also because we were in Kargil, and it's been part of a war before. I don't know what travel has actually done to me. I think it's made me a little demented in the head because I have this feeling of invincibility when I'm out there. I have this feeling that nothing can actually happen to me and the world will always take care of me. I know that's cheesy, but then I have grown up on Shah Rukh Khan and Bollywood in my entire childhood, so it makes sense. But anyway, so I told them that the army has told us that we can wait here. So of course they know best, and when they asked us to leave, they already know that it must be safe. But one girl still looked a little doubtful about what I was saying. So I just looked at her and I said, give some love to Kargil and see what it gives back to you. We didn't have much to do at the moment, so what we did was we just got down from our bus and we started walking around the village. We went into the fields and we started playing in those fields. We saw this girl looking at us from a window and we waved at her, and she asked us to come into her house, and we had kawa with her. We walked back later to the main road, and the cars were still stalled. So we went to this Maggie shop where there was this really nice lady and three little girls, none of them more than 9 years old. So we ordered some Maggie. As soon as they started making it, there was this huge siren that blasted, and we were told that we had to leave immediately. The weather had cleared and the army had asked everybody to leave immediately. What you need to know is that when you're in the mountains, when 200 cars are standing in one spot, you cannot just tell the army that I'm going to finish my Maggie and then leave. You cannot do that. It's a situation, the weather has just cleared, it might become bad again, so you have to leave right then. So we told the lady that, that we have to leave, and it's okay, you can keep the money because you've already started making the food. And we left. We got into our bus, and it started snaking slowly through the mountains, the Indus below and the mountains on one side. Suddenly we hear these loud screams and giggles. So curiously, we looked out of the window of the bus. What I saw is one of the most beautiful things that I've seen during my travels. Those 3 girls that I was speaking about, they were running behind the bus, holding plates, plastic plates of Maggie in their hands, hot plates of Maggie. And I looked at them and I was thinking, why are they holding these hot plates? Because they must be burning their hands. And they were running barefoot on the road. They were running through cars, they were running through people, and they were wanting the bus to stop, and the bus could not stop, and they just kept running behind us, smiling, giggling, laughing. And all of us were like perched out the windows because we could not stop the bus, and we kept looking at them and we kept willing them to come to us, because not just because we wanted to eat the food, but because we just wanted these girls to be near us. If I could, I would have just got down and spent the whole day with them. If I could, I would have just asked them to spend some time with us, but we couldn't. So finally when they came and they were like just smiling shyly at us in their salwar kameezes, in their dupattas, dressed in a traditional Muslim fashion. And I just remember them smiling shyly, and as we took those plates of Maggie, there was this amazing sense of positivity that seemed to flood through the entire bus. And I think it stayed with us even after they left, and even 2 hours after, when we were on our way to Srinagar. Kargil, I'd asked my friends to give some love to Kargil, and Kargil had given some back to us. When people talk of Kashmir, they think of terrorism. When I think of Kashmir, I think of 3 girls who ran behind a bus to give 20 people some food. Thank you, people.